Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Before we get started with today's episode, I want to take a few moments and give you a preview of what you're about to hear and also direct you to some other series that I already have completed on my podcast. So you're about to listen to Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams. You're listening to a 30-part series on that. Today's episode is just one of 30. It's specific to lean leaders, lean managers, anyone who's leading teams of people through process improvement and continuous improvement projects, Six Sigma, those kind of things. It's not about the tools and the methods and all that. It's about how to lead teams of people. So any leader, anybody at any level can get value from this. But I just want you to know that's what this series is about. It's about that specific book. So hope you enjoy it. But I have some other series that may interest you if this series does not. Got a lot of episodes already out there, but I have a book called Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. It's all about how to become a high impact individual, how to become a sought after employee of choice, an employee that people want to hire and want to promote. That series, there's a 30-part series, starts at episode 65. I have another series on my book, Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision, Unleash Your Team's Potential. That book is for leaders, formal authority leaders who want to learn how to effectively lead people. That series, 30-part series, starts at episode 111. I have another series. It's an 11-part series on my book, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation, How to Become Your Best Self. That series starts at episode 158. I have another series on my Blue Collar Leadership and Culture, the 5 components for building high-performance teams. That book is really for the top leader, and it's how do you become the sought-after employer of choice. It's a 30-part series. It begins at episode 179. My wife Rhea and I, this year in 2021, the theme for my podcast this year was all about change. That's why I'm doing this series on Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams, because it's all about leading teams through change. But we have a 15-part series we recorded together on our book, Change Happens, Leading Yourself and Others Through Change. That series starts at episode 211. And then this Blue Collar Kaizen, Leading Lean and Lean Teams series, the one you're about to listen to, one of the episodes of, it started at episode 230. And will be a 30-part series, so it's going to take a little while to finish it. Hope you find value in some of these series. Let's get to today's podcast. All right, folks. Today we're on chapter 17 of 30, and this one may be fairly short. I really don't know how deep I get into it, but it's pretty simple, so it doesn't take a whole lot of time to explain it. But it's pretty powerful. A lot of people hadn't really thought about it. And so chapter 17 is titled The Key to Buy-In. The subtitle is Learn to Leverage the Meetings Before the Meeting. You know, that's something I was doing long before I ever read about it in a book, but I didn't really teach it until I read about it in a book. I hadn't really thought about how to articulate it and explain it to someone. It was just something that I did. But that's the way it is with a lot of the things that I've read in a book. It's one reason that I read so much. I learn how to teach things that maybe I already do, but also learn to do things that I've never even thought about doing. So there's 2 reasons to be a dedicated daily reader. And I've been doing it since 2008. But learn to leverage the meeting before the meeting. I'm going to talk to you about that. Let me just open with the opening quote here from Bruce Barton. He says, "No man can persuade people to do what he wants them to do unless he genuinely likes people and believes that what he wants them to do is to their own advantage. What he's really talking about there is motivating people, looking for mutual benefit. That's the difference between motivation and manipulation. If you want people to buy in, you've got to motivate them. And when you've got a team of people, it's a lot of work, because if there are people who are not bought in on the team, guess what they're doing when you're not in the room, or you're not on the job site, or you're not in the factory, wherever you may be. Those people who are not bought in, they're trying to get everyone else to not be bought in. That's just what people do. You probably already know it. So the whole point is you got to try to motivate. And again, motivation, you got to go for mutual benefit. And at a minimum, you got to go for their benefit. You may not benefit, but they're going to benefit. That's what leaders do. They make sacrifices. And that may be what you have to do. But ultimately, the true win-win is we both win, right? There's mutual benefit. But if you go for only your own benefit and they feel like it's only your benefit, then they're going to feel manipulated. You're never going to get there. So one thing you can do, and you got to do it proactively and you got to do it intentionally, is you got to have a meeting before the meeting. Don't just come up with an idea, call everybody together, and run with it. Because there's going to be some stuff. If it's anything serious about whatever you try to propose, there's going to be some people who ain't bought in. So you need to get them bought in on the front end. So when you come in there and you throw it out to everybody, you're going to be more likely to succeed. So when I'm talking about a lean event, a lot of lean leaders, they get ready to kick off a lean event. And you know, when I'm talking about a lean event, to me, that's just a 4 or 5 day meeting relative to what I'm talking about today. The lean event is the meeting. It's the big meeting where you make things happen. But this principle applies to anything. But in the book, I'm talking about, you know, a Kaizen event. 1 day, 3 day, 5 days, however many days it is. But far too many lean leaders are getting mediocre results at best or poor results at worst because they don't know they should have the meeting before the meeting. Or they are unwilling to invest the time and the energy to have the meeting before the meeting. I mean, that's a big piece right there. A lot of leaders, they don't want to have the meeting before the meeting because it takes time. I may have to go have 4 or 5 little meetings before I can have the big meeting. But if you have the big meeting and there's no buy-in, I promise you, you're going to have a lot of little meetings after that trying to get buy-in. So you got to pay on the front end or pay on the back end, but either way, you got to pay. But I'm going to tell you this, it costs you more to pay on the back end. Because once you present something and people are not bought in, now you got all these people going against you. If you'll go get them on board first, they'll be on board. They won't be going against you. So when you know you're going to propose something, if you know there's someone who always resists, or you know that it's going to impact someone more than someone else, so whoever's going to be impacted by a change or a decision the most, go out and have meetings with these people in advance of rolling this thing out to the world. Go get people to buy in. Do it one-on-one. So you ain't got to worry about what they're going to say when you go to the big meeting. You've already done the work. They're bought in. They're going to be on your team. Everybody in the room is going to know they're probably not going to be bought in. So when everybody in the room kind of looks over and they see those folks nodding, they're going to be good to go. But if you don't have the meeting before the meeting and those people look over to see what's this one person who always has a problem, or what's this one person who this is going to impact the most, what are they thinking when they look over and that person's got their arms crossed, shaking their head no, or rolling their eyes? Well, get ready, because you're going to have some meetings after the meeting, and those meetings ain't as cool as the meeting before the meeting. So if you leverage the meeting before the meeting with mutual benefit in mind, and you work through concerns in advance, the actual meeting will be a stroll in the park. If you don't, it may be more like trying to climb Mount Everest. And if you haven't been having meetings before the meeting, you know exactly what I was just talking about. So getting amazing results consistently, it's not effortless. High impact lean leaders invest a lot of time and energy preparing for an event before the event actually happens. So they fully understand the importance of making deposits and avoiding withdrawals. Now, what I'm talking about there is making deposits into the trust account. I believe we talked about that already, one of the previous episodes. That's what the meeting before the meeting is. Instead of just bringing 10 people or 100 people together and casting your vision and telling them what's about to change, if I'm one of the people on your team and I'm probably not going to like it, or I didn't like it last time, or it's going to affect me in some kind of negative way, if you come talk to me first, that in itself is a deposit. But then if you seek to understand me first, you tell me what's going on, and then you actually listen to me, and I feel understood, then I'm more likely to listen to you and understand you. And if you're there and you're asking me questions, just like we've talked about in a lot of the other episodes, you're going to learn something, or I'm going to learn something if you ask good questions. All these principles tie together. But this is just one little simple principle. You got to have meetings before the meetings if you want to get buy-in in a big way, in a hurry, by the most number of people. So high impact lean leaders intentionally start building relationships and gaining buy-in well before an event kicks off. And how do they do it? They cast the vision, they ask questions, and the key point is they discuss concerns that people are having. They meet with leaders, they meet with team members, they meet with process owners, they meet with value stream managers, they meet with those who will support the event, such as inventory control, maintenance, engineering, safety, quality. All these people they may need to support the event, they may meet with them too. This is what high impact lean leaders do. What I just described, that's called leadership. You do not have to do it if you want to manage a lean event. If you want to manage a lean event, you don't have to cast vision. You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to discuss concerns. You don't have to have meetings before a meeting. If you want to manage an event, you don't have to meet with leaders in advance. You don't have to meet with team members in advance. You don't have to meet with process owners. You don't have to meet with value stream managers. You don't have to meet with all the people you're going to be trying to get to support your event. If you want to manage the event, you don't have to do any of that stuff. All you got to do, put a date on a calendar, get a list of names, send them an email, tell them they're going to be on the event. If you need their leader to tell them they're going to be on the event, send their leader an email and tell them who's going to be on the event. And there you go. Everybody shows up Monday. They don't know what's going on. A lot of folks are mad because they don't know what's going on. They already been talking for a week or two or however long ago it was. Someone told them they had to be there. And you got right the opposite of buy-in on day one. And funny as that may sound, or humorous or stupid, whatever word you want to use, that's the way a lot of lean leaders lead events and kick off events. They don't do the meetings before the meeting. And some of them, it's not because they're bad people. They're busy. But I'm telling you, you're going to be busy one way or the other. You can be busy on the front end or busy on the back end. And you're going to be a lot less effective when you're actually trying to lead the team through the Kaizen event, the process event, continuous improvement event. But again, these principles apply to anything. I don't know what type of meetings you may be having, but start thinking about having the meeting before the meeting. It don't have to be in person. You may call the person, but you need to talk to them either on a phone or a video call, or go to the office, go meet them, have a lunch, do something. Don't just show up at the meeting and expect everybody's going to be bought in, or show up at the Kaizen event and think everyone's going to be bought in. So I'm going to leave you with a quote today by Andy Stanley. Andy says, "The individual in your organization who communicates the clearest vision will often be perceived as the leader. Clarity is perceived as leadership." That's two things you want to do at the meeting before the meeting. You want to communicate the vision clearly. and then try to get buy-in one-on-one, whatever that means. You may have to change a little bit, or they may have to change a little bit. But if you're building a relationship, you guys are going to synergize. You're going to meet where you need to meet. Yes, it takes longer, but I'm telling you, you're going to win as an individual leader. And then clarity. Doing the meeting before the meeting allows you to clarify whatever that person needs to clarify. If you go meet with 20 people or 50 people, or you're doing a Kaizen event with 8 or 10 people, and you haven't done all of this type of thing, these kind of discussions, now you're going to be having to try to clarify to everybody at the same time, and it's going to be chaos. I've seen people do it. People that worked in organizations where I was a consultant, when they get ready to start leading lean events, it's the one thing they won't do. They won't do the meeting before the meeting because they're busy. So then they're not highly effective during the week. And then a lot of chaos afterward. Nobody's bought in. And just not a good way to be. And not only do you lose influence with that event, you lose influence as a leader in the organization. You definitely lose influence as a lean leader in the organization. So think about this tip. Learn to leverage the meeting before the meeting, and you're going to have a better meeting. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen, or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.